I'm Melisa Idris and you're watching The Brand, the show about advertising, how it works and how it works on us. Now I'm here at VCR Cafe in Jalan Galaway in Bukit Bintang, and joining me on the show this week I have Sonia Sarpal. Sonia, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sonia is the Principal Strategist at Click Branding and Marketing. Now Sonia, you have extensive experience in marketing and branding. I think you spent almost 2 decades with a huge company making FMCG.
Yes.
And I'd really like to talk to you a bit today to kind of tap into that experience about branding and marketing. I thought what we could do is kind of take a step back, a bird's eye view, zoom out and really take a look at what makes a good brand, because more often than not when we're talking about advertising and branding and marketing, we get bogged down by the nitty-gritty and we often forget the root cause as to why we're doing it in the first place. So a bit of a 101, if you may, but it's good to kind of get that refresher. Now I want to talk to you about, first of all, what you're doing with Click now after 18 years with the world's biggest food company. So what are you doing now with Click?
Basically in Click, what I do is I offer a consultancy service, mainly focusing on branding and strategy, where I actually help organizations, SMEs, small setups, small startup companies, go in, help them to build up their brand, identify needs and how to actually fix it. I also do what I term as a business war game or business re-engineering, where sometimes I actually go into companies and help them identify key areas which are actually at this moment in time stopping their growth. Right. So for example, if they have something that they're doing which they keep banging that head of theirs onto that wall trying to crack a problem, and they're not able to actually break through that.
Figure it out?
Yeah, I actually go in there and we take 2 steps back and we examine all the data and we have a cross-functional team working on it, and we come up with a single-minded, focused solution as to how we can actually progress.
Okay, well that's precisely what we want to do today, right? Take 2 steps back and look at the issue of branding and marketing and figure out what makes a good brand. So first of all, Sonia, there's a lot of, I guess, people throw these terms, they bandy these terms about, branding, marketing, sales. Do people often understand the difference?
I think there's a lot of confusion.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of confusion. Sometimes when you talk to people, they don't understand the difference between what is a product, what is a brand, what is marketing, and how the sales and advertising actually play a part in this whole scheme of things. An analogy that I always like to use when I run my trainings with branding people is I always ask them to put their phones on the table and turn it around, remove the cover and turn it around and place upside down.
Okay.
And it all looks the same.
Yeah. When it's placed that way.
When it's placed that way, it looks the same. And then I'll ask them, okay, now tell me what you see. And from a distance, nobody can actually tell the brand. There's nothing printed on it. And they'll say it's a phone.
Right.
And I'll shuffle them up and I'll ask them, so how much are you willing to pay for this? And you'll be surprised. The prices can range from 99 ringgit to 999 ringgit to whatever it may be. And they're always very low.
Okay.
And then we start to flip the phones around, and then suddenly the brands become visible.
And then the game changes.
And then the game changes. And then they say, this phone is this brand and this brand and this brand and this brand. And then I'll ask them, so how much would you pay now? And then they'll start throwing different prices.
Okay.
And the Androids, the China-made Androids would probably be at the lower end of the spectrum. A Samsung would probably be in the middle of the spectrum, and the iPhone would probably be at the top of the spectrum. And then you ask them why. And they'll give you so many reasons as to functionality, user-friendliness, usability, value for money, and they'll give you every single reason. And then you'll ask them again, so how many of you own 2 or 3 phones? And inevitably in any group, there will be about 2 or 3 people who will have 2 or 3 phones.
Right.
So you return all the phones and you ask them, okay, so now you have 2 or 3 phones. Now tell me, out of these 2 or 3 phones, if I were to give you a chance to buy the same 3 phones again, which would you pick?
Okay.
And inevitably, they would pick one brand. They will never say, I would pick 2 brands again. I would pick this one brand. And then you ask them why.
Okay.
And then they'll give you the real reason why. And it doesn't matter how much it costs. You will be surprised that there are times that they pick the cheapest phone, and there are times that they have picked the most expensive phone. And the reasons that they've given you will be the determinants of brand loyalty, how powerful the loyalty is to that particular brand.
So what makes up that?
The experience that they have with that brand,
Okay.
the needs that have been met by that brand. So how powerful a brand is to that particular person, how it resonates with that person, at the end of the day, fundamentally comes down to whether or not the needs of that person has been met by that product with that brand.
So, I mean, it seems pretty basic, right? These are the building blocks to brand loyalty.
Yes.
But I think we need a reminder when it comes to that, because often we forget, as we're talking about marketing and branding, we forget why we need to answer the customer's needs. Now, Sonia, when you're talking, you're conducting a training, you're talking to your clients, what questions do you get them to ask themselves about how to solve the client's or the customer's needs?
Well, the first question is, what does the client or the customer or the consumer, the person who is buying it and consuming it, what do they actually want? And what is it about the product which is going to solve their pain point?
Okay.
Once it meets their needs and it answers their problems and it solves their pain points, they are yours.
Do you think that consumers often understand what it is or even know what it is that they need or what the pain point is? Because sometimes, it's often seen that the customer may not even know what they want or what they need, and it's up to the brand or marketer to figure that out.
Actually, you are absolutely right. Sometimes it's like peeling an onion. The more questions you ask, the more answers you get.
Right.
And it's up to the marketer to see how adept they are in actually peeling back the onion layer. And once they are actually getting the hang out of it, whether they understand whether there's a need for a price point or a value pack or an image or an aspiration versus something else that the customer is actually looking for.
Right.
Once they actually peel back the onion and find out what is at the core of it, then they have answered their question to the actual being for their existence and who is actually making the decision. So once they understand decision maker and me, they're done.
Okay, so those are the key questions that every brand builder needs to understand their customer, right? We're going to come back and continue our conversation with Sonia Sarpal right after this. Stay with us on The Brand.